So I'm here to introduce today's topic. It's our CollegeBuys program here in the California Community College system, which has been the effort of the Foundation for California Community Colleges to try and bridge the challenges that we've talked about being a system of 72 local entities. So JC Sales and Alan Alday from the CollegeBuys team are going to talk a little bit about the CollegeBuys program, what kind of offerings we've been able to develop, what some of the successes have been with that project, the approach that we've taken to develop contracts that provide value to our 72 community college districts who choose to participate in them. A little bit about JC. JC's been with the foundation for a little over 5 years now and has had a couple of different posts during his tenure with the foundation. He's spent the last 2 years plus focused on our CollegeBuys program as well as our nursing initiatives. Prior to that, he supported our student mental health program as well as an international student program. And came to the foundation from the Attorney General's office. So brings a economics and attorney background into the fold, which is actually very beneficial when we're talking about all the contracting that we're doing. And then Alan has been with us for a little over a year now, supporting the CollegeBuys program. Came to us after completing his studies at UC Davis. So fortunate to continue to bring some folks. We talk about intersegmental work here. We're hiring from within the systems, and Alan supports the kind of day-to-day operations of the CollegeBuys program as a primary point of contact for a lot of our vendor partners, as well as hearing from what the colleges need and how we can really drive service. So I'm going to hand this over to Alan and JC.
Thank you, Joseph, for that intro. Please don't hold the attorney thing against me. I know we've had a field day with attorneys over the past 3 days. So as Joseph said, I am JC Sales. I'm the director of CollegeBuys. I'm also the director of nursing at the Foundation for California Community Colleges. Just as a quick summary, the Foundation for California Community Colleges is the official nonprofit of the California Community Colleges Chancellor's Office. And so a lot of the programs that the Chancellor's Office it does not have the capacity to do, we execute. So we're very much aligned with the agenda of the Chancellor himself. So we never deviate from it, we just follow what he says. In the absence of a centralized procurement office like UC and CSU, CollegeBuys was developed and built by 72 districts. So these 72 districts kind of wanted to work off of the model that CSU and UC have kind of pioneered over the years, which is aggregate purchasing to lower prices for commodities. So since then, we've started out with some institutional offerings, which includes furniture and fixtures, office supplies, copiers, flooring materials. So we have a variety of commodities already in our, I would say, our binders. And the reason, and how we procure these things, how we secure and we identify our priorities is with the consent of the district. So we always collaborate with the districts. So we have to sit down and really evaluate what are the immediate needs. Typically, as our program is very small, there's a staff of 4 or 5 people. We churn out, 2 or 3 RFPs a year? And that's based on the priorities of the system. And these are just a sample of what we've secured so far on the institutional side as identified by our purchasing professionals throughout the state of California. And then we enter into the RFP process, which is following public contract code, which is very important in really securing the RFPs and providing integrity for the RFPs themselves and the contracts that result out of that. In the past fiscal year, we've secured over $12.2 million in total sales on furniture, $5.3 million in sales in office supplies, $4.4 million in technology, which includes Microsoft, Adobe, and Blackboard. And then we also have the other offerings, like I said, that we don't necessarily is not really a major source of activity. But this $22 million is equivalent also to $20 million of savings over the past year. So that's how much we've saved the districts, nearly 50% on furniture, office supplies, and technology, and whatever other encompasses. And that's by leveraging the system's buying power. So what's the difference between our contracts and those that U.S. Communities has and E&I and others? I would like to go to the second bullet first. It's community college focused. So the way we develop our RFPs is that we focus on the business needs of the community colleges. Now the question leads to how do you determine what's community college focus, right? So again, that's based on our committee of purchasing professionals, chief business officers at the local districts, providing us feedback as to what are the pain points, what is on our wish list, and what's realistic. So coming to also a compromise as to what we would ask our vendors to provide to us, right? So I think UC and CSU already do that with their procurement. But again, in the absence of a centralized procurement agency, CollegeBuys acts in that, and so do the local districts. It's just that with our methods, we have 72 districts that could leverage the buying power of the system. It's also performance and specification based. If you look at our contracts, we have an Exhibit A that has mandatory requirements for performance. So the commitments these vendors enter into are very unique versus going out onto another aggregate purchasing vehicle out there. We go through a rigorous evaluation process. Again, this is something that's designed with our community college professionals in determining how the evaluation is going to go. It's not solely based on price. We base it off of performance and the level of commitment that each vendor is willing to commit to. It has very demanding levels of accountability. It's PCC compliant. And we also have a stipulation in the agreements that says if a vendor wants to commit, they could contribute to the scholarship endowment. And just in the past year, we've collected over $120,000 in scholarships that are disbursed and returned back to the system. 94% of all California community colleges use CollegeBuys in some shape or form. Right, 94%, except you notice that little spot at the bottom that's called the state of San Diego. They usually go at it as a consortia as well, separate from ours most of the time. But for the most part, the rest of the state works together in using our contracts, ranging from technology, furniture, copiers, again, and office supplies. So what is CollegeBuys? We want to be, and what do we want to be? We want to be the statewide hub for procurement, for RFPs, strategic sourcing, advisory committee that's comprised of 10 districts all over the state of California to really dictate how we're going to move forward and our vision. We also hold the annual purchasing conference for purchasing professionals. This is the only forum where all purchasing professionals can come together in the state of California, in the community college system, to really talk about what are our priorities? Where do we want to go? How do we want to evolve as a group? And also professional development opportunities to really elevate the profession into something that's on par with everything else on the college. And then we also provide CollegeBuys Concierge Service. So it's the latest introduction that we have into the entire program. The Concierge Service is focused on walking purchasing professionals through our contracts. So our contracts, like I said in the beginning, are very unique in that we have the Exhibit A, mandatory performance specifications. A purchasing professional sits at their desk probably with 200 different contracts with different stipulations in them. And as we serve the system, we identified that is one of the biggest barriers for using our aggregate contracts, was that it's just hard to understand all these different ways that contracts are used. So we provided that service. Here's how we're going to go above and beyond that by providing this service to you. Here's how you understand it. Here are the areas you need to focus on. Here are what the benefits are compared to the other contracts. We'll even do a comparative analysis of our contracts versus other system-wide contracts in existence. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Alan Alday, who does our institutional offerings. So Alan, I don't know if you want to talk about the RFP methodology.
Thanks, JC. So with our RFP processes, we do this in a very systematic way. So one of the main things that we try to emphasize when we go out to the districts is that we never develop these RFPs in isolation, right? So it has to come from a need that's from the districts that they're saying, hey, we're really grappling with this specific offering or service. We're not seeing the things that we need reflected, or we're not seeing the competitive discounting that we're looking for. Is there something that you can do? So the first step is opportunity identification, either in the regional level. So it could be just maybe down in Southern California, could be a need just specific up here in Northern California, or we could take a look at it on a statewide level and say, okay, what commodities are the districts really needing right now? And so we collaborate with the California Community College districts. So we go out there and we say, okay, what kind of projects are you doing at the moment, or in the pipeline over the next 2 years or a few months or whatnot? What are you going out for? And so some districts will come back to us and say, you know what, we're actually doing, or we were looking to do an RFP on this. Is there something that you can do? Or we're really struggling with this particular product. Is there something that you can do? So that is where we collaborate with the community college districts and begin to identify, okay, if we were to do a system-wide RFP, which districts would be really vested into participating in this development process, right? And so that is the buy-in and participation from the districts who will serve on our evaluation committee. These districts are most typically the ones that we're going to go out to the RFP themselves on that specific offering, or we're just struggling and really have a vested interest in that particular product. So we do our RFPs, and again, as JC mentioned, these are performance-focused specifications. You're not going to find technical specifications, for example, for our furniture offering, because when it all comes down to it, whether that chair is made of a specific material, does it actually last 30 years or 20 or 30 years? Can it withstand the rigors of a community college environment that's running 18 hours a day, 6 days a week, right? Is it easy to use? Is it easy to move? Is it easy to clean around? All of those specifications at the very end add up to the operating expenses for all the districts. And so, whatever type of material it's made of may not be as significant as the end result and the outcome. We have a very rigorous vetting process for vendors, as many of our awarded vendor partners can attest to. This isn't your typical RFP. We ask a lot of our vendors, and we hold them to very high levels of accountability. In fact, if you take a look at our Exhibit A, Mandatory Performance and Service Specifications, you will see from the very beginning what we ask of our manufacturers, the types of warranties that we expect for these products. And consequently, not all products, from a given manufacturer are going to be available on the contract, because we're looking for specific products that can address the needs of the community college districts. You take a look through Exhibit A and you'll see, from every stage, from the planning stage to implementation to post-implementation. So what happens if something comes up, an issue comes up with a particular product? How quick is their response? How quickly should they be addressing this issue? All of those concerns that come up at community college districts are addressed through our Exhibit A. And as a result, these vendors are held to a higher level of accountability. And speaking to that as well, you won't see every single vendor on our contract, because not all vendors are ready to take on that high level of accountability that our community college districts need. So when we do award to these vendors, they're part of a very exclusive group of vendors that are really committed to the community college districts and are ready to say, okay, I'm ready to take on all of these mandatory performance and service specifications, and on top of that, take on additional services and capabilities that colleges might need. So it's the mandatory performance and service specifications are sort of the bare minimum that you must meet, but they also offer things in addition to that. And going through all of the awarded vendor partners, we establish enterprise level partnerships. We really believe in this win-win-win philosophy. So with the awarded contracts that we do, it has to be a win for the community college district. The contract is supposed to be meeting their needs, and it's got to be a win for the vendor partner. They're being subjected to these high levels of accountability. They have this high level of responsibility. It's got to be a win for them. They have to have a vested interest in in these contracts. And of course, it has to be a win for the foundation because you go through a system-wide RFP so that other districts don't have to, right? That is one of the values that we bring to community colleges is that we know that you have limited resources, we know you have limited time. If there's a way for us to offer a procurement vehicle for you to get these products and services that are really catered to your needs, then we can provide that and be a value to you. RFP pipeline, so things going down the road, things that we're working on right now. We have a network server and unified communications equipment RFP that we're working on. Also online tutoring services, and then towards facilities or group one, area, LED luminaires and energy products. So I'm gonna give the mic back to JC.
So I just want to add something to this slide that these, again, just like I said earlier, were identified priorities. And usually we partner up with a lead entity to do so. So number one, network server unified communications is something we're doing in partnership with the Los Angeles Community College District, which is the largest district in the community college system, 9 colleges. The online tutoring services is something we're doing alongside Foothill De Anza and the online education initiative that the community colleges is now pursuing. The LED luminaires is something we were pursuing with the CCC IOU initially. Right now it's on hold. The IOU, as it stands for Investor-Owned Utilities, so it includes San Diego Gas and Electric, LA Department of Water and Power. That's something that we are working alongside them, and as well as the energy products RFPs. So we don't really do anything that is just done because we feel like it. It is done because there is a purpose to it, and that is the immediate priority right now. So out of all the immediate priorities, what should we pursue now? And these are the top 4 that came out for this year. On the CollegeBuys transactional and technology side, so I mentioned earlier a couple things about Microsoft and Adobe. We've managed to secure the highest level of discounting for Microsoft software and Adobe software available to our students, faculty, and staff. Our Microsoft side is aligned with our enterprise level agreement, and on the Adobe side, it's also aligned to the enterprise level agreement except for the students, which is an independent agreement. So the savings could go between 30 to 80% on software that's essential for the success of our students in the classroom and in the workplace. One of the things that we've identified as a system is that there is barrier to access. We are not a private institution, right? Our students are really, 99% of all Californians go to a community college. The rest go to CSU and UC and meet the mandatory admission criteria. At the community colleges, really anyone, your grandmother, your mother, your sister, your cousin could just come in. Welcome, right? That's the difference. Some of our other offerings are Lenovo. We have discounted laptops, LiveScribe, which has smart pens that records lectures and notes, and Mobile Citizen, which is low-cost wireless internet that came out of another program that I was running before. It provides access to the Central Valley initially that was focused on digital literacy. A lot of our Californians, we think that, especially all of us here, I think in this room, are very proficient with technology. What we don't realize is the Central Valley is actually very much behind the 4G and the wireless technology that's available to us already. And so the federal government funded a program to address these issues and get people on board and start using the internet. As a result of that, we were able to launch a program for Mobile Citizen, which is $15 a month for wireless internet technology for the populations directly addressed by that grant, which are low-income families in the Central Valley. And it's now available statewide. I'm going to hand this over back to Alan because he's the one that goes around throughout the state and really knows what's going on the district level. So Alan, why don't you go ahead and tell some success stories?
So I know we spent a good chunk of this presentation kind of walking you through our methodology and our philosophy, right? total cost of ownership, high levels of accountability for vendor partners, making sure we develop performance specifications that are catered to the community college districts. But when it really comes down to it, the testing ground are the community college districts, right? The way for us to determine whether this program actually works is if the districts are using our contracts. So when I go out there to engage the community college districts, I ask them what works, what are the opportunities for us to improve, what are some offerings that we're not seeing. And through my conversations with community college districts, I was able to secure a few examples of where the CollegeBuys contract and foundation contract provided value to the community college districts. So, walk you through a few success stories that we have here. So, College of Marin, we have 2 awarded vendor partners for our copier offering. That's Xerox and Konica Minolta. And so the College of Marin used our copier contract to obtain their digital press for the print shop and a monochrome digital press. Really reduce the amount of time and effort by working with the Konica Minolta sales rep there to see where else they could provide some efficiencies with their setup, and also offer your up-to-date flexible terms and competitive discounts. So again, our contracts are crafted to address a multitude of issues. So it's not just a matter of being the most competitively discounted or most competitively priced, but what else comes with that. And so they were able to, without having to go out to bid, they were able to secure all of these equipment and efficiencies. Cerritos College, as some of the other community college districts are looking now, what is the merit of standardization? If we can standardize to a specific furniture or specific product, how will this enable us to achieve operational efficiency and cost savings? And so what Cerritos College did was they standardized to 2 of our 11 vendor partners for furniture and fixtures. They standardized to KI and Hayworth for their classroom and furniture products. They're also using our Office Depot contract. They are our exclusive vendor partner for our office supplies offering. And they also participated in the Foundation's furniture RFP. So again, it's great to see, right, when we walk through the RFP methodology, here's a district that needed a better way to secure their furniture, with the services that they're looking for. And one way that they did that was by participating in the RFP. And through the RFP process, they were able to, it gave them a way to facilitate, this being able to standardize to the 2 vendors here. Peralta made multiple purchases through KI. So KI has been a historic vendor partner of ours. They used it for a couple of furniture offerings at their colleges. And I just wanted to mention a quote here from Marie Hampton. She's the Director of Purchasing Services there. The contract and ease of the procurement process have been very helpful to Peralta staff. So again, these are the kinds of feedback that we want to receive. Certainly we want to receive all types of feedback, but these are the things that really reinforce the CollegeBuys philosophy of how are we really adding value to the districts. Here's a great example from Contra Costa, Community College District. They used KI Furniture for a nearly $1 million order. They generated a PO that allowed them to achieve additional $20,000 in savings, and more importantly, they were able to generate $8,000 in scholarships for their students. So, and these are just a couple of examples of their furniture there. Foothill De Anza. So Foothill De Anza also worked with KI, secured $700,000 back in 2010 for their new physical sciences and engineering center. They also secured $500,000 for their media and learning center, and I'm going to show a few slides here. Here's their media and learning center classroom, and also with LACCD. So again, our contracts serve the wide spectrum of community college districts, and as many of you can attest to, the community college districts are very distinct, right? We have 72 distinct community college districts, and it's great to see that our contracts, despite the differences between these districts, can still address a district as large as LACCD to some of our smaller colleges. So here's an example of Harbor College and LACCD, they had a fixed seating, again with KI, provided them a seamless installation, excellent service, and warranty coverage. So again, what we offer in our contracts is a more stringent warranty requirement. And finally, Rancho Santiago. So Rancho Santiago exclusively uses our Office Depot offerings to gain volume discounts. There's annual rebates, no delivery charges for orders over $50. And one strength that we really do have is these 800 plus items in the core list, which aren't just, compiled randomly. These 800 items that they're offering are based on the products that were being historically purchased by the community college districts. So these are the things that they purchase on a regular basis. You're not going to see something that other agencies, other public agencies might be using. These are the things that community college districts have used historically, and for their numerous reporting capabilities. One note that I will make, for Office Depot, is that they have this HP Big Deal offering. So the HP Big Deal provides even additional discounting on their toner and ink cartridges products, which is, it can be one of those items, in office supplies that really take on more expenses than others. And so hopefully through kind of these success stories, and we continue to get those, and we really communicate those to our districts through our newsletters and through our on-site visits to let them know, this isn't just a matter of one community college district. This is happening all over the state, right? Evidence and proof of concept of this, of this philosophy that says, hey, despite all of these additional requirements that we ask of our vendors, despite all of these specific services that we ask, we can still find a successful contract that can still achieve savings for the districts. So with that, I'm going to hand the mic back to JC to close it up.
So in summary, I just want to say that the CollegeBuys program is begging to start a change. It's somewhat of a revolution for those who are willing within the community college system to do things differently than what we've always done. The system has always operated in silos, and over the past few years, it started to go towards a trend of let's come together, let's create a coalition of very informed decisions, decision making, I guess, in securing these contracts that are going to be advantageous not just to my district, but to all other districts that are out there and to all other public agencies. I should say that other public agencies do utilize our contract too. Even private institutions have utilized our furniture contracts just because of the commitments that our vendor partners are willing to make as far as accountability is concerned. Our contracts are manufacturer held. It's never held down to the reseller level. It is manufacturer held because of the instances wherein a reseller goes out of business. And then you got an institution stuck with that product that has to deal with it on its own. By keeping it at a manufacturer level, CollegeBuys could also be the conduit in saying, you need to act on this and you need to fix this and you need to figure out a solution. And these manufacturers do make sure they do that. Also, our success could be attributed to the purchasing directors at the local level who are willing to change the way things are being done and really take advantage of the opportunities that we have amongst ourselves, that we are one system, we are three segments doing similar things, and I think this is the spirit that we're going towards in this conference. Let's leverage our buying power all together, $3 billion up. That's pretty amazing. That's greater than the GDP of a lot of countries. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please, I'm ready to answer them too.
Okay, here, take a mic.
JC, can you just expand on the scholarship component on some of that you referenced? I'm just curious.
So when we do a competitive RFP process, one of the things we add is an option. So it's an option. No one's really our vendors are not mandated to contribute to the scholarship endowment. The Foundation for California Community Colleges manages a scholarship endowment that was funded by the Bernard Osher Foundation. I think it was $50 million of, is it $50 million, Joseph?
There was a $50 million commitment from the Bernard Osher Foundation, structured as a challenge grant to the system. So they committed $25 million up front, and then $25 million that was matched 50 cents on the dollar to any new money that we brought into the system. So when that challenge process was going on, we took the opportunity to structure an opportunity for vendor partners that are working with our colleges to show their commitment back to the system and to the colleges they were serving. And through that process, we've raised, I think you showed $120,000 in last year, but I think in total it's approaching nearly $1 million that has gone into this scholarship endowment that will support student scholarships forever. And so that endowment currently sits at just over $70 million. So we didn't quite reach the full $100 million goal, but it was really kind of a trigger to get our colleges to start looking at fundraising. Because again, it's 72 districts. We had varying levels of local foundation activity. I think when we started that process, the total endowments of our entire community college system was, I think, less than the interest Stanford earns on theirs annually. But we got to start somewhere.
I'm just curious, in terms of the contracts that you guys do, are they done at a district level only, or do they cascade down to a individual campus level? If you could elaborate.
So when we secure an RFP, we act as a public agency. So we act like a California Community College district. The reason we do that is there are specific codes that we have to meet in the public contract code specifically for California community colleges. There are codes specific to CSU and UC as well that are separate from ours. That is an offshoot of K-12. And so we have to act as a public agency when we do secure these RFPs so that our purchasing directors at the local level can say this is a piggybackable contract. They acted in the same capacity that we would have had we done the RFP ourselves. So what we did was save time and money and resources for the local purchasing directors in securing these RFPs and the subsequent contracts that result out of them. Thank you so much.